Today we're doing a wee fix-it job on a broken parasol. As you can see, one of the arms is broken. Should connect in there. Split in two. We've done a little bit of dismantling at the head here to take the arm out. And we're going to make a new stick. Here we have the material for our new stick. I've cut it down to size. It's not square, it's a rectangular profile, and I've sanded down the corners to make them a little bit smoother, just like the original. If you're wondering how I did this, I had a lump of hardwood, you can see the remnants of it there, and I used my homemade table saw. This is just a circular saw mounted underneath a piece of MDF. This is very crude, but I have a very general purpose garage. I need to be able to get my car in here when I want to fix it. I keep a motorbike in here, I've got milling machine, lathe, all sorts of other tools. And so this is very handy. It's just 4 trestles with the MDF, and I sunk into it steel plate that my circular saw sits under on one side. And the other side there you can see the same, where my router can sit underneath it. I do have a groove down the side that I can run a square down, if that's what I need to be doing. And for a straight edge, I just use a piece of Conti board and clamp it down. It's very crude. I'm not going to pretend for one moment it's as accurate as a top quality or even probably a low quality table saw, but it works for what we're doing. As you can see, we've made quite a mess ripping down this piece of wood, so quick tidy up before we cut it to length and drill the holes in it and then go for the reassembly. As you can see, quick clear up. I'll do a full clear up when we move the workbench out of the way and put it back to the side. One of the beauties of a workbench like this is that I can just lift the top off, lean it against the side wall of the garage and put the trestles away, and we get all that space back. So you can see I've brought down my miter saw, and we're just going to cut the stick to length and drill some holes in it, and that'll be us ready to reassemble. First thing we'll do is just cut off the rough end. Of course, it helps when you remember to unlock the slide. It's to be 1,000 millimeters long. Sorry, I'm an engineer, I work in millimeters. We'll just sand the ends. We're finished with that, so we put it out of the way. I want to be able to mark the holes on a new piece of wood, so I was going to use my poger, but it's too big to go through the holes, so we're just going to get a wee nail. Give ourselves a wee nail here. We'll just line up the end of the stick, poke it through the hole. It's got a little bit of movement, but it'll give us an idea where it's meant to be. I can see the little mark. So that's one end. The other end doesn't have a hole in it. So mark the position of the pivot. Right there. So now we have a spot to drill our holes. You can possibly see the holes on the end. I need to take this piece of wire. That's all that holds the top pivot in. Whereas the middle hole, where it connects onto this member, well, that was riveted together originally. And we're not going to be able to reuse that rivet. We're going to have to drill it out. But it's a bigger hole, it's a 4mm size hole. And I think we'll just replace that rivet with a small nut and bolt. So we are drilling a 2.5mm hole in one end of the stick. I'm calling it a stick now. Don't know why. When does a stick become a baton? Anyway, that's what we're doing. Oh, it works better if you switch it on. Hey. I think from the smoke we saw on that, maybe we burned a hole through there. Obviously you don't need to use a pillar drill for this, you can use a hand drill, but I've got one so it keeps it nice and square. There we go. I notice the end of this stick has got a slightly rounded end on it. Could do this by hand, but I'm not bloke with toys, so we'll just do that on the belt sander. I was about to cut this rivet out and I realised it was made of copper. So I've just lifted the end back up and pulled it out. I'm going to try annealing it and see if we can maybe reuse the same rivet. If it doesn't work, then we'll just replace it with the nut and bolt like I originally intended. But why would we not if we can? Now we'll just set that to the side to cool down. So as you can see, I used this old bicycle toe strap to hold the batons in place whilst I tried to retighten the metal ring. It's like a piece of wire that's put in there. It's obviously put in by a machine and it's twisted up and then cut off. Unfortunately, whilst I was trying to refit it, it snapped. So what I'm going to do, I have a piece of welding rod, same size. Unfortunately, this is not stainless, but we'll give it a try. And I'm going to take this out and see if we can make a new one. This is where it could all go horribly wrong. We could end up with a big pile of sticks. We'll try pre-forming it a little bit around the head. Best we can anyway. Where are we? Right. Do the first one. The next one is going to be our new stick. Got to get them in the right order again. That's for our new stick. And it's this one. There's every possibility we could end up with a horrible mess of sticks here. And that one. And this one. And finally this one. Okay, that might actually look like it's going in the right place. Heavens above. What next? See if we can do a slightly better job of twisting this back together again. They don't teach you how to do this nonsense at school. What's the chances? Right, here we go. Gripping one of them. There's a fancy machine that does this in a factory. Probably does it in the blink of an eye. So, looks like we might have succeeded. As you can see, one end already broke off. Thankfully it broke off in the right place. That's the other end broken off. There we go. Bonzer. Now all we need to do is see if we can get a rivet to fit. May need to open up my hole a little bit for this one. I think so. I've opened up my hole just 0.5 millimetre. Enough to get the rivet through. Connect it on. And now we're going to go over to the vise, set this in the back of the vise and see if we can carefully pin that rivet head over again. And we might go around and tighten up a few of the other ones while we're at it. So to do this, I'm actually going to use an old punch that I've got, which I think is for putting eyelets into, well, anything. Little metal ring eyelets. But I think it's just the right size for this. So what I need to be able to do is put the head of my rivet onto something nice and solid. And this isn't going to be so easy. This is when you could do with 6 hands sometimes. So I'm only opening up the vise to allow me to put it in the right sort of position, just like that. Perhaps we can get a little bit of support from it. I'm going to get my punch. So the head of the rivet is now sitting on the vise, and we're going to see if we can rivet this over. It is beginning to mushroom. I think that's a success. So let's take our strap off and see if our parasol opens. Not that I'm an expert in opening parasols. Hey, there we go. And there, if I can do this without clouting myself in the head, boom! There's our nice new baton. All we need to do now is put the cover on it. Not going to keep the sun off us like this. Now we probably have the final battle, which will be getting the cover on. You see what we go through for the vague possibility we might get 5 minutes sunshine. I should probably have left that slack to start with, because I might need to rotate that to align the pockets with the batons. At the bottom here there are little pockets, and the baton goes in the end of the pocket. If it goes on the same way it came off, I'm hoping it just relies on the stretch of the fabric was to fit. It'd be like one of those puzzles, I'll get to the very last one and won't be able to get the last one in. We've all been there, haven't we? You think you got the job done. That's handy. There's the same number of pockets as there are batons. There we go, final test. I'm deliberately hiding behind it so you can't see me. If you're wondering what the camera shake was, a cameraman's sobering up from a night out in the Raz. It had nothing to do with me hitting it with a parasol. My word, it works. So there we have it. Today I fixed a parasol. I made a parasol. No, I fixed a parasol by making a stick. Hopefully you can see that for a little bit of effort and a bit of laugh, a couple of hours in the garage, and yes, I used some tools like the miter saw and my circular saw, but you could do this job with just normal hand saw. But we fixed the parasol. I know it's not worth a lot of money, but it's better than throwing it out. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed that. Bit of a laugh, and Heaven knows what we'll be fixing next time on Weekends with Adam the Bloke.